Political leadership in China is meeting to outline the country's next five-year plan. The closed-door gathering, known as the Fourth Plenum, will last 5 days. The new plan is expected to focus on economic security and technological innovation. There are also expectations of a major shakeup within President Xi Jinping's inner circle. The meeting comes at a time of heightened trade tensions between Washington and Beijing, and also ahead of a possible meeting between Xi and U.S. President Donald Trump. Well, despite growth in industrial production and international trade, China's economic growth has slowed to its lowest point this year, mainly due to weak retail sales. Katrina, you has this update.
I'm at a market in central Beijing, and here people are looking for the best deals when it comes to buying their everyday groceries. And that's because China's economic growth has been slowing. It slowed to its weakest pace in the third quarter of this year, according to the latest official data. Now, exports and global demand for Chinese goods has been strong, despite U.S. tariffs and trade tensions with Washington. But consumer spending since the COVID-19 pandemic remains low. Many will be looking to the Fourth Plenum, a major political meeting that takes place this week for signs of an economic boost. This high-stakes gathering will chart China's course for the next 5 years and have repercussions around the world. Analysts say a major focus will be on innovation and advanced technologies.
It's less about growth, but more about the internal transformation in terms of treating high tech as even more of a short-term and a long-term priority. That means resources will be allocated more to the high tech sector, but they don't generate GDP and jobs in the short term.
We could also see more political purges. 9 top military officials were expelled on Friday. Some experts say Chinese leader Xi Jinping is on a mission to cut out corrupt or disloyal figures in his government. But for shoppers here, what matters most is what the government might do to improve their cash flow and their future. And on that front, we're expecting more changes to social welfare, including benefits for families and the elderly. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Andy Mock, you're a professor at the Beijing Foreign Studies University and Senior Research Fellow at Center for China and Globalization. You're joining us from Beijing this hour. Thanks for your time. Why does this meeting matter, and what will you be looking out for?
Well, thank you for having me today. So I think to really understand the significance of the 15th five-year plan, we really have to understand China's long-term goals. And it's become a bit of a platitude to say that China plans in decades and not years. But we really do have to look at 2 key dates that sound very far off in the future, 2035 and 2049, to really understand the importance of the next five-year plan. So 2049 is when China has set a goal of becoming a modern socialist power. And what this means in plain English is that its global position will be commensurate with its civilizational weight. And 2035 is when China aims to become to achieve what it calls basic modernization. And again, in plain English, all that means is to have the complete toolkit to reach the goal of 2049. So when we look at this upcoming 15th year plan, it will advance these objectives of having a complete toolkit by 2035. So the next 2 five-year plans, the 15th and the 16th, are very, very important to see China's achievement of global competitiveness with technology, continued reform of its economic sector, modernization of government, advances in social organization across all of these sectors, not just technology that we think of traditional IT, artificial intelligence, but in agriculture as well, healthcare, that these are major areas that I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on when we see the actual 15 five-year plan released.
There certainly, though, are domestic challenges at this time. I mean, there's a trade war that's intensified ever since Trump took office. There are also domestic problems that are dragging down growth. How are these domestic issues going to be addressed?
Well, I think, first of all, there's a lot of, I think, hope in the Western world, especially among Western investors, that we will see some sort of major transformation in consumption. And I think those hopes, to a degree, might be misplaced, in that I think the Chinese view is that industrial transformation has to be the priority. Now, this doesn't mean consumption doesn't matter, but the consumption as is typically defined by the West and in some sense normalized by the United States as what some would consider overconsumption is certainly, I don't think, in the cards for China. That being said, of course, China is still dealing with the legacy of the real estate boom and subsequent bust. I think the trade war launched by the United States actually has turned out to be far less impactful than many had feared. We only need to look at China's export growth over the last year or so. Industrial production, of course, in the latest quarter, I think surprised many analysts in a positive way. So certainly there are challenges, demographic, the aging population, youth unemployment. I think these are all certainly on the government's radar screen. But I think the government's conclusion has been its strategy and its implementation of that strategy has largely been a success. And we will see really a doubling down of its priorities rather than any dramatic shift going forward.
Okay, Andy Mock, you're joining us from Beijing this hour. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.